Have you seen what you wanted to see out of these off weeks? I know you said it was...
Yeah, it was good. We had 2 really physical practices. They were long, they were hard, they were tough. They were kind of like training camp, and gave a lot of people an opportunity to kind of grow and develop. And you know, I could use a whole nother training camp, so it's never enough. But I think we accomplished what we needed to, and now we're going to lift them, run them tomorrow. Then they get a 48-hour hall pass. So they need to manage it the right way so they come back fresh and ready to go.
Was one of those accomplishments this week really evaluating some of those younger guys that you're ready to step up and make an impact the second half of the schedule?
Yeah, I think so. And you know, for some it's keep proving that you should be in there over the other guys, and for others it's just adding good depth so we don't have to play the other guys so much. So it was good. Those guys are progressing, and you know, and the old guys, it's good for the old guys. So clean up a lot of the mistakes we made.
They handled it with maturity coming off.
Yeah, I think so. I didn't come off any day saying they weren't ready to go. But you know, this team's been that way the whole year. They've you know, they're a good group. They're a focused group. Doesn't mean they're coming out there can't wait to practice on an open date, but very workmanlike.
When you're evaluating a kicker in high school, I mean, how do you balance weighing what they do if they come kick you in camp versus what they do on Friday nights kicking their game? Can you weigh those equally? Is there one more than the other?
Well, I wish I could say there was a real easy formula, but the biggest difference is most of them kick off a block in high school, and it's totally different from kicking off the ground. And some guys, with the way their technique is, it doesn't phase them at all, and other guys have to make some major adjustments to their technique because they struggle early kicking off the ground. So there's a lot of components. You know, one is the just overall natural leg talent a kicker has. You know, how does a ball sound and look when it comes off his foot? It's like watching a golfer. The secondly is, what are his technical issues that might hamper him? And then the third thing is mental. And that's probably the hardest to evaluate, is their mental capacity to handle pressure, their competitive character, that sort of thing. And so those 3 factors, I'd like to say I know what I'm doing. You know, we have a systematic approach to it, but it's hard.
There's sometimes with Mike Lotte's trajectory, it comes out a little differently than it does other times. It's a lot lower. Is that a technical thing? Is that a mental thing?
I think it's both. I think there's some technical things from his technique that he can improve on and change that lends itself to a low trajectory. And then what happens is, if you don't have the right mindset, then the technical flaw gets compounded, and so now you have a breakdown in your swing. You're hitting at the, you know, and I keep equating to golf. When you top a ball, you know, what happened? Is it your technical swing, or is it your mindset, or is it your eyes? It's usually a combination of a lot of things. You know, for the pros, when they do that, it's probably a mental thing. For us amateurs, it's probably both.
Who can help these guys if there's a technical problem? I mean, you don't have a kicking coach.
Well, I do. I am. So I've been that. I hadn't admitted that because wait until we perform well to say it. You know, but I meet with them, and you know, and I learn each year more. I spend a lot of time with kickers and have my whole career. And I don't profess to be an expert, but, you know, getting some basic fundamentals and then trying to help them mentally be in the right mindset, and then they got to go perform, you know. So, and you know, I mean, Tiger Woods or Phil Mickelson, you know, they get it. But they need a guy to just say, look right there, watch this, look at, oh yeah. And that's what you hope your kickers, they understand it, and you're there to point it out a little bit. But you know, most kickers they learn their trade, and then you're there to kind of assist them a little bit in their practice structure and helping their mental approach and that sort of thing.
Are you allowed by NCAA rules if some guy says, look, I really would like to work with a kicker coach or somebody from outside?
Well, those guys in the off season and stuff can hire their own.
But not during the season?
And, well, they can go hire their own somewhere, and you can't control that. But no, you can't have extra coaches. And look, hey, everybody, we talk about this kicking situation all over the country. You know, all the years my dad was there, he had a kicking coach, specialized in kicking, not special teams. It was just the kicker. And when they cut, that was the first position that got compromised. And so instead of having a coach who, that's all he knows is a guy how to kick the football, you get coaches who know ball and they learn how to kick a football, but, you know, never really grew. They didn't kick, they didn't grow through it, you know what I mean? And I think it's affected. I do. I know it has.
Could you make a case just theoretically that a kicker affects a game, the outcome of a game more than a tight end, and maybe you could have a kicking coach and let somebody just kind of work with the tight end? I
think it's a good argument, you know. It's a good argument.
Do you think that a kicking coach would be the first added if rules were changed and you could expand your staff?
I think that every coach would be different. I've been pushing for staff increases, and everybody looks at me like I'm nuts. But here's what I do know, that our coach, if you look at coach or student athlete to coach ratio, okay, we have the highest ratio of any sport in college. Highest. It's not even close. Basketball, women's basketball, tennis, whatever it is, they're 3-to-1, 4-to-1. We're like 15-to-1. I mean, it's ridiculous. Okay, so we have the highest student ratio of all sports. In my opinion, have the most scrutiny and exposure on our players as it relates to academic performance and off the field issues. All right, and have the highest expectations on performance. I mean, it's just common sense. So it doesn't add up to me. And then I look at an NFL roster who has half the numbers, 53 compared to 105, and they have double the coaches. They have double. I mean, their staffs are anywhere from 18 to 24. And so you can't tell me we're in the student athlete development business and football's sitting there with a student athlete ratio that is so out of proportion with every other sport, men and women. It doesn't make sense to me. And every time I bring it up, people look at me like I have 3 heads. All you want to do is big football. We have 105 student athletes. We have 9 coaches. Doesn't make sense. So we do the best we can. And I'll keep fighting for it, but I don't anticipate it changing because everybody just views football as, you know, excess. Well, we do, because we have a lot of players, and so you have to develop them. But I got a little off track there.
Sorry.
Doesn't have anything to do with us winning right now.
When will y'all start?
I mean, it has nothing to do with a competitive issue because everybody's got the same, so don't get me wrong. I'm just talking about from a student-athlete development issue. You know, mentoring them, helping them with their academic support, coaching them, making sure their personal life, they're not running amok. I mean, it'd be a lot easier if each coach had 3 guys, like most sports do. But that's not how it is.
You got to really...
You know, the tight end thing's an interesting thing you bring up, Mike, because that's always been a tough one on me because it's one guy or 2. But here's the problem. Of all the positions on offense, it's probably the most complex. And that's what makes it hard. Because there's a lot of people that don't have a tight end coach. They don't play with a tight end. And then some people use GAs to coach them. And I've thought about it. And I've coached tight ends, you know, but it's a hard position to coach. It takes a lot of time because they have to know all the run schemes like a lineman. They got to know all the pass concepts like a receiver. And they got to know all the protection concepts like a back. So it's a hard position to coach, but you're right. There's only 1 or 2 guys out there playing. And, you know, we got one for that. Then the O-line is over there with one coach who has 18 to 20 guys. So it's a hard deal. Some people used to do tight end tackles, but it was usually an O-line guy and he didn't know anything about the pass game. So it's somewhere you're always going to steal from something. And I don't think there's any real kicking coaches out there that say, I want to, those guys come in here and see what we do. And they got to recruit, support them academic. I mean, they're like, are you kidding me? I ain't doing that. I mean, it's a lifestyle commitment. It isn't just going out there on the range. They all like to have their little instruction camps and all that stuff. And then go home on the weekends,
It's a point of responsibility. I mean, it's tight ends and special teams, but it encompasses all special teams, kickers, and just.
Yeah, but I'm heavily involved in special teams. So, and I've been that way because most coaches don't coach. They don't like it.
You said earlier in the week you were going to try to get a quick start on Mississippi State later in the week after.
We did it today.
How did that go?
Good. It was like a Monday practice. Just kind of introducing what they do, their fronts, their base runs, their throws, their personnel, their teams. And, we'll come back on Monday and go get after it pretty good.
You got a physical Mississippi State team, followed by a physical Alabama team, physical South Carolina team. How important was this open day to get your team physically ready for what's ahead?
Well, I don't know. Sometimes it's better to keep going and your body just adjusts and you keep pushing, and sometimes you need it. I don't know if it's going to help us or not. We'll find out. But sometimes a lot of rest before a lot of physicality doesn't help you. Usually when I give these guys a couple days off, the first day they come back, they're terrible. But if you just keep hitting them all the time, then they don't even know, they just keep going. Your body adjusts to the amount of stress you put on it. So if you lay around for 2 days, your body adjusts and just says, I want to lay. When you hit for 2 days, your body adjusts and say, let's hit. That's how it is, That's how you build muscles. You stress them, and it hurts, and then it grows. It adjusts. I talked a lot more than I anticipated today.
I know.
Daniel Gray here?
Huh?
Daniel Gray, was he here?
No, Dan got dinged up. He was in the training room. Yeah, had a little concussion-like symptom. I'm not going to say concussion, so we held him out.
What about Dallas? He didn't practice.
Yeah, we held him out too. He just kind of dinged up, senior, played a lot of snaps. We put him in the tubs, rehabbing him.
Gray's incident was something that happened yesterday.